out about Charles.
Awesome people, to be truthful. So
Like us.
Yeah.
We understand. That's why you showed up at the show, because you wanted to talk to awesome people.
We talk to you every week.
Yeah, that too. Thanks for making it awkward. No, so you know how much I've struggled with my Android phone, and as much as I try, it's just not for my brain. And I was counting down the days to upgrade, which to be in August of this year is to get out of that 2-year deal and get into my next 2-year deal with an iPhone. But at the EMS conference I was at, when I was loading out on my gear, I dropped my phone. Now I always have an honor box on there. I have the titanium glass screens. You know what? Not the glass itself, but the screen protectors and crap.
Yeah.
That has all that toughness on. I always.
And
have
then
that
you
stuff
ran it
on
over
there.
with a forklift. We get it.
Yep.
Man, you're very. I love how much you think how important I am at a conference that I have a forklift worth of stuff to bring it in. But I've dropped it many times, and it's been fine. Well, this particular time, it landed just right to where it cracked the screen. And
so what I'm hearing is you weakened it enough that it finally said, "I give up."
So you guys are nerding about me being here so you can punch me. That's what you love about me. I am the whatever punching bag to your Drake or whatever. I don't know.
Punching bag of podcasting.
Long story long, because peanut gallery and shit. Sorry. Bloop. I've been drinking on all night, man. All right. So it was the bottom half you couldn't really see, top half you can kind of see. So I took it in as soon as I got back from the con. So I dropped it the day we were loading out. So the very next morning I went to T-Mobile and fortunately my tax returns came in. So I had that to pay for, pay off my other phone and into this one. And we were able to figure out by looking at another screen, like where roughly to hit the OK buttons for transfer. Because the screen still worked. You just couldn't see what was behind all the digital mess on the bottom part, the bottom third. And I never thought about looking up the Microsoft Authenticator. So I use that for a whole lot of things nowadays. And from iPhone to iPhone, it'll back up and it'll transfer all secure. Android to Android, same thing. Android to iPhone, it will not come over. And so I'm like, oh, crap. And I was sweating how to fix it. Then the whole screen went out where you couldn't see anything. So, well, if I can see the top part of the screen, I can get this to work. Even the fingerprint reader worked half the time on the screen. So I was like, how can I get this to work? Well, the whole screen went out. And I tried, Kurt, you had told me about Screen Copy, basically.
Yes.
The app. Yeah. The problem with Screen Copy is, well, you have to have it in debug mode, which I'd already done because you had told me about that.
Yep.
I'd already turned on. I'd already done all that. I think you actually after one show one night, you actually walked me through all the steps together, and we got it on the screen. It's really cool. The only other problem Screen Copy has is when you do it and you click the thing on Windows and it goes in that mode, you still have to hit the button on the screen that says yes. Let me connect. And I'm tapping everywhere I can on the screen where this button might pop up. You can never get it to connect.
Could you hook it up to a TV with an adapter?
That was an option, but also then you have to have the Bluetooth mouse, and I'm not sure how to connect that when I can't touch the screen. It's an ordeal.
If your screen is broken, there's definitely a number of things that you still need to touch on your screen because for privacy purposes, they make it invisible in the Screen Copy window. So
I wonder if you could restore it to like BlueStacks from a backup or something.
Well, it doesn't matter because it gets better. So I called repair screenshot. I'll pay a few bucks. I had because it has some of our. I've got 6 or 7 different PayPal accounts for different shows and different projects that all were locked up, under that and emails and other things that were secure. So I'm like, okay, I'll see if I can pay somebody to do a screen. And the first person I called, they were very disinterested, and they quoted me like $300. Like, no way, I'm not paying $300. I'll figure something out. And so then I started to look. I called another shop that I hung up and didn't answer. And I started looking online. I was like, hey, I replaced the screen before on my wife's iPhone many years ago. And I remember that being like $50. Let me go see what I can. Let me tell you something. Samsung, with their curved edge screen and all that stuff, it is very pricey. It's more expensive than Apple repair parts
Oh
for
man.
the equivalent phone. So to get the screen kit myself was like $350. And I'm very disheartened, and I'm trying to figure it out. And by the time the shop I called and hung up on texted me, it's like, "Hey, we got a missed call from this number. Are you looking for some help?" I said, "Look, here's the honest truth. I just need to get into my Microsoft Authenticator to get my accounts off of it, and then I'm done with this phone. I've already been quoted $300. I understand the screen's a bit pricey, but I can't do it. I cannot pay $300. Would you be willing to take my phone after I get the stuff off of it and sell it?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll do that deal." And it was right there in town, so I rode over to him. And he's a younger guy that's really just hustling business and works on everything. Works on Mac computers, PCs, every phone out there. Basically, if it can be broken and fixed electronically, he probably fixes it.
Yep.
And so he actually ordered a screen, put it on for me. I went into his office or back to the shop the next day once it came in. It took me an hour to like go through each account that I had and punch in the codes and turn off two-factor so I could then set my new phone. And that was just removing it. I haven't set up all the two-factor and everything again yet. And he was going to return the screen, so we were both very careful not to mess with the screen. He's going to return it to then part out the phone for about $100. I'm like, you can't get like $400, $500 for this phone. It's not that old. They just released the 25. This is the 23. It's like, nah, man, on the eBay, they're going for about 400. So really, once you repair the screen and you do shipping and taxes and stuff, you're not making much of a profit. He was cool. He was so helpful. We got it done. I got all of my accounts unlocked. And it was just one of the best experiences. I've not had great human experiences in, I don't know, the last decade, it seems like. But this guy was just exactly who I needed. And that's what I'm learning out about. Just good people helping other people. And I hope it gets like $400 for that phone. Parting it out. He gets all the money in the world because I was going to trash it. Or, there's machines that you can take at the grocery store and say, "Hey, my phone's wiped." You push it in, and it just takes it. I mean, they might have given me like $10 or some BS,
Right.
I didn't care. I needed to get my information off, and I'm free at last. I've got my iPhone 16. I'm happy as can be.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, random.
Well,
kid
no, go on. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
It was such a civil conversation until Charles joined. It's like a switch flipped in Joe.
I am the agent of chaos, man. Actually, you know what? I'm the god of chaos. Let's talk about that.
Oh boy.
Okay, Loki.
Yeah. So, see, I think part of your problem, Charles, is that you went Samsung rather than Pixel.
Maybe. That was on the radar at the time, to be considered. Yeah. All I was looking at was the camera improvements.
Yep.
And did not take into consideration how much of a change it is from one system to another.
Yeah.
But is Pixel like cheaper to fix or anything? Or
I mean, look, I am unapologetically an Android fanboy. That being said, if you have been all in on the Apple ecosystem, making that kind of a change is really hard. It's really hard. And in either direction.
Right. I agree.
And so as much as I hate the Apple ecosystem, I wouldn't really recommend people change.
That's because I love it. I mean, it works for my brain. And when I went from Android to Apple, and you're talking about iPhone 4 at the time, and whatever Androids were out at that time, they weren't the phones we have today. You didn't rely on nearly as much as you do today. So that was an easier transition, especially since I already had a Mac.
Then, and each of the ecosystem's user interfaces weren't as mature as they are now either.
I agree. Yeah.
I had Samsung early on. I think I had a Galaxy S3 really early on, and it was not nearly as robust as what the user interfaces are now.
Yeah, and I will say, I cannot say except for one instance. I'll give you that instance in a second. I cannot say one system does something better than the other. I think they absolutely work for however your brain works. If your brain works like Android, it flows. Mine happens to work like Apple, and I've got a tablet, I've got a phone, I've got the computer. I'm all in on the Apple ecosystem. I'll never change again. But I will say this: I got a little spoiled with Android, with Samsung specifically. I don't know if it's across Android, but Samsung specifically, their built-in alarm that lets you do set my sleep cycle and all this stuff, and you do all that stuff in health or whatever. Their alarm lets you tap directly into Spotify, and I'd wake up every morning, Dave Matthews, and the volume was perfect. It was a gentle wake up. It was gorgeous. And Apple
Kurt
does not
is judging you by your music choices.
Dave Matthews, man.
Look, we already know that Kurt and I are opposite sides of pretty much everything. So I'm glad that I'm driving, so I can't see his dumb face right now.
Okay, look, Southern boy. If I'm you and I'm waking up to music, it's not Dave Matthews, it's George Thorogood.
No, I already had the one whiskey, one shot, one beer last night. I need to wake up to something that's going to set my day right. So it doesn't matter. The point is, we got into Spotify, and it was so easy to grow. And Apple, I mean, you can't go to Spotify, but I know how to load music on Apple. And let me tell you, it ain't the same.
It's because Apple wants you to subscribe to Apple Music, and that's it.
But
so
their alarm won't even go to Apple Music. The alarm won't touch any of that stuff.
Well, that's because you haven't paid for that feature.
Maybe. You might be right.
Obviously, you have to download the paid alarm app so that it can interface with all of the other apps and get what you need.
And every time it plays that piece of music, it charges you a nickel.
And then after that, you have to buy the Pokemon alarm clock and go that route.
Yep.
So look, y'all can mess with Apple. They're expensive, but they take care of their people. I'll leave it there. But I'll tell you, I've decided, hey, I want to wake up to
I'm in the Apple ecosystem, and the company has not been the same since Steve Jobs. Just
agree.
Gonna say that.
I agree.
I will say the upside to you getting your Apple 16 now is that those iPhones are only going to get ridiculously expensive in the near future.
Oh yeah, tariffs and all that.
There's a reason why I'm still rocking my iPhone X.
Oh, you know what? It's actually not the tariffs that I'm concerned about.
What is it?
It's Apple needs to recoup the cost of their new manufacturing facilities that they're building here in the United States. Somebody's got to pay for that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And they're spending $500 million on that. So, welcome to your iPhone 16 for $2,000.
I mean, that's still kind of reasonable price to me, as much as I live on my phone.
You're out of your mind. You are out of your mind.
That's what I was just thinking.
I can edit audio. I get crystal clear recording. I do everything I need to do. Dude, the last few weeks, my studio camera has been my iPhone. I can do so much with it. That is right up. It's a production tool for me.
I can have a 4-camera shoot with all the old Android phones that I have. and set it up in OBS inside of 15 minutes.
Yeah, I still look like your stupid face, so there's that.
but 4 angles.
So many angles.
So many angles.
You'll be able to see Kurt in ways that you've never seen him before.